Hello everyone, this is Jeremy Dergana and welcome to another installment of the Turnbuckle Club. Today we have a special treat for you. If you're an MMA fan, you better keep an eye out for the following superstar, because after he dominates his opponent at UFC 174 in Vancouver, BC, he's going to be popping bottles, kissing models, and today he's going full throttle here on turnbuckleclub.com. He's Mr. 9-1, Jason Saggo. Jason, two questions. First of all, how are you? And number two, is your girlfriend going to be mad about that introduction?
Thanks a lot. That was quite the introduction. Yeah, she probably will be a little upset about that introduction, but it's all good. No worries. I'm doing great. It's an awesome Sunday. Just gonna be chilling out today. It's my day off, just relaxing and recuperation. Yeah.
How's your weight cut, by the way?
My weight's good. I'm sitting at like 171 right now, which is right about where I should be. So I'm on track.
Yeah. Is this a strenuous, arduous task, or is it something that you're used to at this point?
Oh, it's never fun making weight, and I don't think there's a single person out there that enjoys it, but it's just something that's got to be done as part of the sport. I really enjoy eating tons of food afterwards, but yeah, during especially the last week, it's probably the hardest in terms of your diet.
Well, on that note, what's your high caloric meal going to be like after you're done with the experience? What's your first thing going to be?
After the fight's on and everything,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to some carrot cake. They make some really fine carrot cake over here, and I'll probably just get a big slab of that when I get back to the island.
Really? Carrot cake? I'm surprised. I thought I was going to hear something like a poutine with French fries or pizza or something.
No. There's this bakery called Buns and Things here on the island, and they make the best carrot cake. So I haven't had any of that for over 6 weeks. So I'm looking to really just dive in as soon as the fight's over.
Yeah, that's tough. It is. Here, I want you to explain something to the viewers here, the intangibles here. Things that the couch potato at home that's eating pretzels and watching the fight and criticizing you, they don't understand how your body has to adjust to the time changes. Like right now, first of all, you're normally operating under Eastern Standard Time because you're a Toronto guy, but you're right now out in the Maritimes working on Atlantic Time. You leave for BC on Tuesday, and then you've got to get adjusted to the Pacific Standard Time. How does your body get used to all of this, and how does it affect your performance?
Yeah, that's quite a big time difference. It's a 4-hour time difference, so we make sure we leave extra early. We fly out Tuesday, weigh in Friday, fights on Saturday, so we give ourselves a couple days to adjust to the time difference. And another good thing about when the fight's going to be around 3 p.m. BC time in Vancouver, which is around 7 p.m., which is ideal for me because that's usually when I'm training. So it's actually good timing, 7 p.m., because that's when my body's pretty much primed and ready to go. I
gotcha. And how are you prepping differently for your opponent in Josh Shockley as opposed to opponents in the past?
To me, I'm still looking at this as just another fight. It's another fight, but it's just on a bigger scale. I've never really fought more of a grappler before. He seems to be more of a grappler. Most of his wins are via submission, similar to me. So we've just been working on a little bit of everything. We've been trying to be as well-rounded as possible, working on the striking, the takedowns, takedown offense, takedown defense, and our jiu-jitsu game, which is always solid. So we're just really planning on mixing it up a lot in the fight.
Yeah. Now, are you at the point in your career where you're inviting and calling different grapplers to your camp to train with you guys, or are you flying out to places to train, or are you sticking with?
Actually, we flew in a grappler, one of the best grapplers in Canada, Chris Prickett. He's multi-time national champion for wrestling, so probably couldn't have asked for a better guy to work with in terms of wrestling. He's just outstanding wrestler. So we flew him in for over a week, and then I actually went back to Toronto for another week to work with him as well. So it's been very productive working my wrestling game with him.
Yeah, you're with the epitome of all fighters in the UFC, but how do you think that helps with transitioning into, let's say, Olympic wrestling? If you want to become an Olympian and become an Olympic wrestler for Canada.
Becoming, Olympic big wrestler because, I'm really just trying to pursue mixed martial arts, but I think somebody who comes from a wrestling background and they want to pursue, for example, my wrestling coach, Chris Prickett, he's still on the wrestling match, he's coaching, he's involved, he's sparring with the guys. It's an easy transition from him who's coming from a wrestling background and he's still teaching, he's on the mat teaching wrestling. I think it's an easier transition for him to continue on if he wanted to pursue perhaps going to the Olympics. Mm-hmm,
mm-hmm. And as far as your striking goes, training with the same guys, or are you doing something differently as far as your striking?
Back visiting Atlanta Muay Thai in North York, and there's a lot of solid strikers there, and old coach Crew Mel. So, there's a lot of good guys to train with over there, and here on the island, there's a lot of good strikers out here. A lot of my training partners have a background in striking, so there's more than enough guys out here to push me in the striking department.
Yeah. How big is MMA out there on the East Coast?
MMA is huge, actually. MMA is really big. There's a lot of fight fans out here. Everyone loves, getting together and watching the UFC. It's pretty big out here. Most of the people know of the UFC, especially if they're, even of the, a little bit younger generation, especially they find we have a lot of young guys coming into our academy wanting to learn and train in mixed martial arts, judo, wrestling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. A lot of younger guys coming in and stepping through the door and wanting to train.
Yep. This is off topic for a bit, but what is it about Canada? I'm Canadian as well, but what is it about Canada and our love for all the contact sports? I'm talking pro hockey, obviously hockey. This is definitely a hotbed for professional wrestling. We love our NFL and CFL. We love rugby and mixed martial arts. What's it about us and these physical contact sports?
Yeah, I can only really speak for the mixed martial arts. I could understand mixed martial arts. The attraction is because it's so raw, it's so pure. There's no equipment needed. It's just two athletes stepping into the octagon in the cage, and all they have is their own body to use. So you see kind of the purest form for myself when I'm watching that, because there's no equipment, there's no baseball, basketball, or golf club or anything like that. It's just two guys in their own body getting ready to compete. That's it.
Yeah, the reason why I asked that is because I was just thinking about it the other day. I was driving to the gym and I couldn't believe it. I'm out of Woodbridge, Ontario, and in Toronto and the GTA, we probably have the most dojos. I'm including wrestling, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, karate, Jiu-Jitsu. We have the most dojos per capita. The amount of dojos and places that you can train out of, it's just, there's so many. It's so prolific.
That's great for the sport, right? It just shows that it's becoming more and more popular every day, and that it's growing, and that, hopefully these schools that, they're coming from, legitimate background, and they're not just, a guy who's self-trained and stuff like that, and that these parents are actually bringing their kids to a school that has a reputable background, maybe a Gracie school if they're going to be studying Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Just make sure and encourage the parents to do their background research and to make sure the instructor is legitimate.
Yeah. Now, how did you find out about the UFC contract, and what was that feeling like?
My manager gave me a call one morning, and he told me, hey, I got you a contract to the UFC, and I was just like, no way, it's more in disbelief. My girlfriend read the text message first, and she was super excited, and then I was like, no, I didn't even believe it, because it's something I've been working towards for so long, and I just didn't think it was going to happen. I was, in my mind, I thought it was just going to happen later, because I had a fight scheduled May 30th to fight Alex Ricci, and I was just thinking, okay, after that fight, it's going to happen, but it ended up happening earlier before that fight, so I was just shocked.
Yeah, and I was about to say, how quickly does something change in this business? Because, you were originally supposed to be on the substance cage combat, and then it switched, and you're now in the UFC. I know for you, that's definitely a nice upgrade, but I guess for your opponent, he had to train for somebody else, completely different, with a different style as well.
I know, and I felt sorry about pulling out of that fight, but given the opportunity, I think everyone would understand when the UFC comes calling, you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was happy to hear that you signed it too. I remember teaching with a staff member, and he told me about you. He said that I forgot his name, to be honest, but I remember him saying he's one of your friends, and he said, keep an eye out for this guy. And I ever since then, for about 4 years, I've been keeping an eye out for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not joking around. This was right off the heels of that Skydome match when Jake Shields took on GSP for that belt.
Yeah, I watched that, actually. I was there for that. That was incredible. I think there was like 55,000 people in the Rogers Center. It was packed. The energy was just unreal. I was there for that fight.
That's amazing, and I was there too. So you must have been sitting in those stands, going, "One day that's going to be me coming out of that, that entranceway." How do you feel?
That was a dream, that was so many people. I mean, that place was packed. Like when George St. Pierre came out, you couldn't even hear the person's voice next to you. It was so loud. So yeah, it was incredible energy when watching that fight, seeing George St. Pierre and Jake Shields, 55,000 people just screaming at the top of their lungs. It was pretty unreal.
I agree, and that might have been the loudest ovation for French hip hop in this country ever.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. What's that walkout feel like to you? I mean, what's going through your mind during that walkout?
I always walk out to Kung Fu Fighting by Carl Douglas, so it's always, for me, it's just kind of like, that gets me into more of like a relaxed state, not just stay so tense, and just relax and, just get ready, be prepared, and just going in there and ready for battle, but don't be overly tense, but don't be like completely relaxed, just be finding that prime range where you're ready to perform.
And the reason why I asked that, Jason, is because to the casual fan, a lot of people, we definitely appreciate what you do inside the cage, but we also appreciate the theatrical aspect, like the drama, the part where you're coming out and there's something different about you in that walkout than most. Whether it's your theme song or whether it's, I don't know, you're saying yes, a la Diego Sanchez. Yeah, Diego Sanchez style.
Like positive affirmation.
Yes.
That is entertaining.
It is.
Entertaining.
Yeah. And what kind of things are there in that UFC contract in terms of like what you can do that would be considered too adventurous? Like horseback riding is probably one of them.
Things like motorbiking. They say you can't motorbike, a few weeks outside of the fight. You can't bungee jump, hang gliding and stuff. Anything that would kind of risk yourself getting injured.
Wow. Hey, as an MMA fighter, do you also have to have like like a law background to understand these contracts? I mean, obviously somebody's deciphering it for you.
You don't need a law background, but you probably need a good lawyer to read over the contract.
Really? Hey, this is really interesting stuff. Like, how many pages is that? It's not a page. It's got to be like a book.
No, it's like 25 pages.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's huge. It's like 25 pages, for sure.
Well, you've got a university background. I know that helps.
Yeah, for sure. I read it over and just, make sure everything seems correct. And then I have a good friend, actually, she trains at our academy, and she's a lawyer, and she's real book smart, so she just helps read over all the technical terms.
Yeah, but I'm sure that a lot of it's like just common sense, right? Or are there a few things in there that you go, oh wow, I'm
most of it, but there's things that go on in UFC contracts that really don't occur so much in other contracts. Like the length of the UFC contract, I said, like 25 pages. The length of another contract for a small organization could only be like 7 pages, around there. So there's a lot of extra stuff in there about, owning your image and stuff like that.
Ooh, wow.
They're going to be, selling and distributing something like an action figure or something, like they own all the rights to that action figure, even though it's of you.
Yeah. Sounds a lot like Mr. Dana White has been speaking to Vince McMahon.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're doing quite well for themselves, but it's great that they provide, fighters coming from small organizations an opportunity to compete on a larger scale. I mean, you're still getting paid more in the UFC than you probably would anywhere else in the world, so it's good that they're providing that opportunity for younger fighters.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, congratulations on the signing of the contract.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Yeah. The other one is how much of that in that contract? How much of that is dedicated to preserving the integrity of the fighter, like making sure that you're in good places, you're not at crazy bars or nightclubs, tarnishing your reputation.
Well, yeah, there's certain things. I mean, they can't really control where you go, but definitely what you say on like social media, like everything like that's monitored. If you the photos you post on Instagram, the tweets on Twitter, your status updates on Facebook, all that is monitored. So if you're saying anything offensive or out of line, they can, basically, slap your wrist, or they can even remove you from the promotion. So you have to, I mean, not like I'm going to say anything that would, warrant that, or but for other people, it's if you have more extreme beliefs, I guess you have to be careful what you say.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Because I'd say 20 years ago in '93 when that happened, when they came out, that would have never been expected. Like this idea would have never been conceived.
No, well, even back then, I mean, social media wasn't as big as it is now, and now people have, thousands of followers, and, when you're a UFC fighter, you represent the UFC, and they want to make sure that, everyone's basically, clean, good fighter. That's why you can't have a criminal background, right? If you have a criminal background, then they don't let you fight for the organization either. They're trying to really clean up the sport and make sure they have a positive image for mixed martial arts.
Are you extra motivated for a fight when it becomes personal?
No, not really. It doesn't matter if it's personal to me or not. When I'm going into the fight, it's more of a battle with myself. It could be anybody standing in front of me, but it's about me and about what I do right. And, can I show that the last, 6 weeks that I've, trained my butt off, and that everything is crisp and technically right, my striking, my wrestling, grappling, what is jiu-jitsu, just kind of showing that, I've trained really hard, and I want to show that and let my skills come through in the octagon. It's not so much about my opponent. I'm not thinking I really got to hurt this guy. It's just more of a challenge to myself.
Yep. And we're just going to transition into the academic piece here, because a lot of the viewers don't know this, but, how does an individual with a Bachelor of Arts, originally accepted in computer sciences, and then you specialize in philosophy and psychology, and end up in the octagon? And before you even got to the octagon, you were out in Thailand, you were doing Muay Thai competitions. How do you end up there after writing algorithms?
Well, that's how I started, actually, when I was in university. My friend just saw me one day messing around on the heavy bag, and then he asked me to stick around for this hybrid Muay Thai karate class, and I said, yeah, sure. And then from there, as soon as I did the class, I fell in love with it. That was it for me. I knew that was the path that I wanted to pursue, and then I ended up going to Thailand, and I was supposed to stay for 3 months, and I was staying for 6 months, and I just, fell in love with it, and one thing led to another. Then I went to Brazil, and you fall in love with it, and you realize it's your passion, and you pursue it 100%.
Mm-hmm. Who did you train with in Brazil?
I was down in Gracie, Floripa. It's southern Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Mauricio, he's the guy who got me down there, and it was awesome. Brazil is an incredible place. The people were so friendly, especially at the academy. They're very warm and welcoming. So there's a ton of good black belts training down when I went to Brazil.
Okay, interesting. But prior to that, were you aware of mixed martial arts and the prides and the UFCs and?
Well, yeah. When I started out, that's actually just when the first Ultimate Fighter reality show, when I started beginning my training, the first Ultimate reality show was Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner. That just was coming out. So that's when kind of the craze was just starting for MMA. So it was actually a really good time for me to be involved in getting my training going around that time.
Interesting, really interesting, because I was always wondering about how important and how much that show impacted their growth, and you're an example of that.
Oh, I think that fight that they had at the last show put MMA on the map. Because when I was watching that fight, I was just like, this is incredible. This is crazy. I was trying to call my friends up and tell them, you got to turn this channel on. You got to watch this fight. Anybody. You don't even have to be a big fan of MMA. You could just see that fight was extremely entertaining to watch. And I think that's really what helped put MMA mainstream.
Wow, definitely brought them into the spotlight. Growing up, apart from your head instructor, it's Paul Abel, right? I
Yeah,
know that
Paul Eagle.
you idolized and respected what he did. Um, Apart from him, do you have any MMA practitioners or any enforcers in sports, or even pro wrestlers, or that influenced you, or were you always just like, were you not a sports fan? I mean, what was that like growing up?
Yeah, actually, never really been a big sports fan, but when I met, yeah, my head coach, Paul Abel, and, he's showed me so much about martial arts, but just see the way that he treats people in the academy, and like his respect for everybody. I learned a lot outside of martial arts that he teaches his students too. So, no, he's kind of the guy I've always looked up to, and he's the reason I moved out. Also, the main reason why I moved out to the East Coast, so I could still, learn under him and study under him. And he moved here about 2 years ago, and then I followed him a year later with my girlfriend Rachel.
Considering that you have a background in philosophy, I'm sure you're familiar with some of the philosophies of Bruce Lee and then even Eastern philosophy and whatnot. But I mean, how do you infuse that into what you do, and how does that affect your mindset?
I guess my approach is, not like super aggressive. Like, I think a lot of people outside of MMA, they have like this stereotypical fighter where he's all tattooed up, his muscles like, bulging out, and he's aggressive. And I just like, not like that at all. I'm very chill. I just like doing yoga, very calm. Just for me, it's just the philosophy, just the mental challenge. I mean, that's why I like going to MMA, because for me, it's like one of the most challenging things that you could ever do in life. Like, somebody's going in there, they're in the cage, in the octagon, they're trying to like tear you apart. They're going there to try to finish you, and you have to remain calm. So I think if you can manage to, maintain calm and tranquility, and just be, at peace with yourself during that moment, then I think that helps you in a lot of other areas of life. If you can remain calm when somebody's trying to rip your head off, then I think it translates over into other areas in life as well.
And the reason why I asked that's because one of the purposes of the show is to break that stigma that people have of the sport. I just want to try something before we wrap it up. Just name association. I'll throw out a name, and I want you to tell me what you think of this guy. A couple words to describe him. So the first name is Dana White.
Dana White, very, very, very good and savvy businessman.
Did you have a chance to meet him yet, or no?
No, actually, I've never met him. No, I've never met him.
Mm-hmm. Because he's so busy, I'm wondering if he's there during every single contract signing or not. I guess not.
No, he does sign the contract, but he doesn't. He wasn't present there, and I'm sure you probably won't meet him until the night of the fight, UFC 174.
Yeah. Okay. What about this one, Royce Gracie?
Royce Gracie, it's a legend in MMA. Just proves that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is, if you're going to be studying any martial art, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is the number one pick, and he wasn't a big guy when he won the Ultimate Fighting Championship when it first started out. I think he was like 165 pounds, and he was beating guys over 220, 230, so yeah, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. What about George St. Pierre?
Oh, he's a Canadian MMA legend. I think he's a guy who really did well representing Canada. I mean, he was a very respectable figure in MMA. Just a Canadian idol for MMA.
Yeah, maybe he'll open doors for Canadian MMA practitioners in the world of Hollywood. Did you end up seeing him in Captain America at all? It was pretty good.
I didn't see that movie. Is that already out in theaters, or is it?
Oh, it's already out in theaters. I'm sure it's already out at the $5 DVD store.
Yeah. No, I saw like the fight scene that he did. It looked pretty cool. So it's good to know that if you get to that level, there's also other things you can pursue outside of mixed martial arts. It opens up other doors, through movies, television, commercials, and all that.
Do you ever see yourself working in the realm of entertainment, whether it's a movie or pro wrestling or something where you're using your skills and you're exhibiting it, but you're not doing it to get hurt?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm always open to new opportunities and new life experiences, and if an offer came my way, I would definitely be interested and take a look at it.
Well, I certainly hope you land something with Marvel. It seems like they never, they're always making more and more movies. I mean, have you ever thought about a superhero that you'd be well casted for?
I love Marvel. I haven't seen the new X-Men movie, but I love Marvel. I used to read like Wolverine comics when I was younger and stuff, and I love mutants and all that. So I could see myself maybe going into an X-Men movie one day. I don't know what character I'd be, but for sure I'd be open to that.
Well, if you're there, you'll be set because they're always making sequels. And the last one is Anthony Pettis, potential opponent one day.
Anthony Pettis, he's a very flashy, exciting fighter to watch. And he's well-rounded, too, because I think his last fight he submitted Henderson with an armbar, too. So he's well-rounded, and he's a very entertaining fighter to watch.
Yeah. Now, here's the question for you. You're 9-1, 8 wins by submission, 1 by knockout. How does this battle end on Saturday night against Shockley? And, how do you exactly see this thing going here? How would you like to end it?
I always go in, when I step into the octagon, I always go in to finish my fight. So I'm going to be looking for the KO or submission on Saturday, June 14th.
Well, we're definitely pulling for you here, and we certainly hope you walk away with one of those Fight of the Night bonuses. That would definitely help.
I'm definitely hoping to get one of those bonuses too. That would be life-changing.
Yeah, and my last question is, where can our viewers follow you, and where can they find information, videos, possibly gear and stuff on you?
For sure, Twitter at Jason Saggo, same with the Instagram, and then you can also follow me on my Facebook fan page, Jason Saggo, and website, www.jasonsaggo.com. And I also like to thank all of my sponsors for their support. Couldn't have done it without you guys.
Awesome. Well, we definitely wish you the best of luck on Saturday, June 14th, live at UFC 174. Thank you so much for your time, Jason.
Oh, no, thank you.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, an interview with Jason Saggo. Coming up next is a special preview of An Evening with Ric Flair. Woo!
Who's your favorite designer of all time? I mean, is it Gucci, is it Versace, is it Wrangler G2?
Armani, brother. I love Italian clothes. It's expensive though.